Wetlands meeting to order September 10th, 2020, 6:30. This is a web-based meeting. Roll call.
Craig Palmer,
Here.
Tom Murphy,
Here.
Ned Dalton here, Joe Paletta,
Here.
George Tupont, Luigi Cavallo Jr., Scott Tierman, Pierre Moran,
Here.
Charles Bellevaux,
Can you hear us, Charlie? You got to unmute
you
probably.
got to unmute. Charles Bellevaux is here.
Yeah, like,
Phil Mahler.
right. The secretary is going to read the instructions on the web-based meeting.
This is a web-based virtual meeting, so we are operating under the following procedures. This session is being recorded both video and audio. Mark Massoud, the land use administrator, and Michael Simmons, the town's IT director, will be in the meeting's administrators. A link to the video audio will be posted to the town's website. Most people attending this meeting will be muted. The commissioners and staff will not be muted. However, in order to minimize disruptive audio feedback, all participants should keep themselves on mute until ready to speak. Individuals will be unmuted at the time they are recognized to ask a question or make a presentation. Presentations may be made by applicants and their agents when appropriate and permitted by the commission. Other attendees, excuse me, other attendees will be permitted to speak only during the public hearing portion of the meeting. Commissioners and staff will generally be keeping video of themselves on throughout the meeting, unless they are attending via telephone only. Applicants and members of the public should feel free to leave their video on or off. However, they will be asked to turn on their video when speaking. A picture tells 1,000 words and can be useful in conveying your meaning. If video is not available for you, you will not be precluded from speaking or providing public testimony. During the public hearings, individuals desiring to speak will be asked to state their name and give their home address. We will read the public hearing rules at the start of the first public hearing of the meeting. Please use the chat feature or the raise your hand feature for the meeting administrators to know that you've raised your hand to speak. If an applicant or agent needs to submit additional documents to the commission, which was not distributed in advance of the meeting with the rest of the materials, the application will be continued to the next meeting so that the new documents can be made available to the public. Members of the public may only speak during a public hearing. If a member of the public speaks outside the public hearing or creates an audio or video disruption, they may be manually ejected from the meeting upon recommendation of the meeting administrator or the chair.
Add Luigi Cavallo to the attendees. Hi, Lou. All right. Is there anybody from the public wishing to speak?
Luke Cavallo would speak.
Catherine Cameron, Mr. Chairman, has her hand raised.
Mr. Chairman, one member of the public is ready to speak.
Okay, go ahead, please.
Catherine, you can now unmute your microphone, Catherine.
Okay, thank you. It's Catherine Camera, 31 Cottage Place in Oakville. I want to say tonight that I believe you need to table item number 1 on your agenda, the 2020-15 application of Eric Markowitz of EPM Development LLC. For those Republican members of the commission who are appointed with Mr. Eric Markowitz acting as chairman of the Republican Town Committee, there's perceived bias and impropriety. While the town council, excuse me here a minute, while the town council appoints the members of this commission, those names are brought to the council by the town committees. I contend that any Republican member of a commission who was appointed when Eric Markowitz was chairman of the town committee, must recuse themselves from voting on his projects. If you have a quorum after those recusals, the application can proceed. But if you don't, I think there's an issue here. I brought this to the attention of the town council on September 8th to be discussed at their next meeting. I originally thought that if Mr. Markowitz resigned as chairman of the town committee, the problem would be solved. But that won't do it, as this is about those members of commissions that were appointed while he was acting chairman. I realize that this has already been before, I realize he has already been before Wetlands and P&Z, but that the situation was not considered. Now that I have brought light to the issue, I think it needs further consideration before any decisions are made on behalf of Mr. Markowitz. Just today, in an article about Tom Wynn's resignation, the Waterbury Republican reported, and I will quote, "The Republican Town Committee will recommend a candidate to fill Wynn's vacant council seat since he was a Republican," end quote. So there can be no denial that you Republican commissioners were nominated by the Republican Town Committee and Chairman Eric Markowitz. I'm urging you to hold off and let this be looked at by the town council, by the town attorney, because I think there's an ethical issue here of impropriety and bias. So I'm putting it out there. I'm putting it out there on the record. I know that there's been decisions before, but I don't think anyone has ever raised this before. And I do think it's worthy of consideration. And I thank you for your time.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else in the public?
Who else is there? Everybody else is self-muted, so they need John can now unmute his microphone. Oh, and Eric. Eric, you have the floor.
Are you Eric Markowitz?
Go ahead, Eric.
Yeah, no, I didn't have anything to say. I
Oh.
don't want to, I'm trying to mute myself. I don't know what happened.
Okay. Mike,
Franklin,
was there somebody else in the public?
Who is next?
John Everett was trying to, there, John Everett, you have now the floor.
John? Mr. Everett?
John Everett's mic is unmuted. Not sure if he's having technical difficulty, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Well, we do have a public participation at the end too, so if there's a problem, and maybe, you know, we could pick them up on the end,
Okay.
if that is suffice with him, but like I said, he's not picking up, right?
He just, his mic just went. Catherine Cameron has her hand up and wants to speak again.
Okay, go ahead, Catherine.
It looks like,
I just wanted to say, maybe if you could explain online, it's possible that Mr. Everett doesn't know about unmuting yourself. There's been times where I didn't have to physically myself unmute myself and I was able to talk. So if someone could explain that, he might be able to get on.
Okay, thank you. Mike, can you explain that to him?
I released his microphone, John's microphone, he's self-muted. I could send an unmute request to John Everett, which I just did.
Okay, but we can pick him up at the end.
So
Correct.
John's microphone is now unmuted, but I still don't, John, are you out there? If you're out there, you want to check your microphone, you can do a sound check under the audio properties and make sure your microphone is selected.
And also at the end of the agenda, there is another chance, there is another public participation.
Yes. Correct. Well, since there is another public participation, let's move on and we'll,
Catherine Cameron has her hand up once again.
Okay.
okay, go ahead.
Catherine Cameron? Cameron?
I actually don't think I did. Maybe I don't think I did. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I don't.
Okay.
See if you can say it again.
John,
Say hi.
Hello,
Yes, go ahead, John.
can you hear me now?
Yes, sir.
I'm fighting with a computer here.
All right,
Anyway, John Everett, 2 Everett Lane, okay?
yeah,
There's actually questions all over the place about this issue, but, okay, I have questions to this board based on, okay? The whole property, okay, is in an inland wetland area, okay, within 100 feet of Wattles Brook, as well as a runoff area in the back, okay? So this entire area, okay, has to be checked for environmental problems. Now, another issue is that we received letters, okay, from Eric stating that he was gonna tear down the building. Originally, the letter came from Bethany, okay? I am assuming that it was related to the insurance company for the fire, and they had a contract to take it down from the insurance company. However, we got a second letter that stated that Eric was gonna take it down. Now, in taking down the building, okay, there's all kinds of environmental issues that would have to be faced, meaning you need to have certified people to take this down. For example, a thermostat in the house, vermiculite in the walls, asbestos. That would have to be checked prior to removing that property, and you'd have to be certified to do that, okay? That, 2 of the issues. And the other issue is that this property was non-conforming use. So that means that if Eric wants to build the house exactly like it was, there's no issue. But when he deviates from that footprint, that creates environmental issues, and that's the reason for the special permit. You have to have that if you want to exceed what you had, because what you had was grandfathered. What Eric bought was grandfathered as a burnt building. Okay, now he has to meet all these specifications, and he has to accomplish water to the property, because that property will not hold what he is looking for to build. So he has to meet all these specifications. So I don't think that a passage of tonight's meeting, I think this is going to require a field search. You're going to have to walk the property. You're going to have to see what you're talking about, and that there should be no decision. I'm not saying entertain all the guests that you want, but no decision should be made until this board goes, investigates every aspect of changing an 880-foot property into a 3-family home. That's okay. Thank you. Now to get off.
no. Is there anybody else in the public? Okay, we're gonna move on to acceptance of minutes, regular meeting, August 13th, 2020. Did everybody receive the minutes?
Yes.
Yes.
Any corrections or errors on the, or omissions on the minutes? Okay, can somebody make a motion to approve? Motion to approve minutes.
Make a motion to accept minutes, regular meeting, August 13th, 2020.
Get a second? Motion made and second. Any question on the motion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Any abstained? Thank
I
you.
will abstain. Tom Murphy.
Thank you.
Tom Murphy. Is he, Mike? Is Tom Murphy can talk?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, we're gonna move on to new business. 1, application 2020-15 of Eric Markowitz, EPM Development LLC for the demolishment of an existing single-family home and construction of a 3-family home, associated parking driveway within a regulated area, 542 Davis Street.
Okay, Franklin Pilacy, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Franklin Pillacy on behalf of the applicant. Firstly, I'd like to address the recusal comment. Connecticut law is long-standing by statute and court precedent that there is no authority to request or recuse oneself from a decision or application proceedings unless that individual has a personal or financial interest in the application before the commission. There is no authority or precedent whatsoever for recusal based upon party affiliation. Secondly, the comments made with respect to the demolition of the building are outside of the jurisdiction of the Wetlands Agency in many respects, but notwithstanding, the application is for demolition and to construct a replacement dwelling. Now, this application concerns activities that are outside of all wetland areas. They are within the upland review area and thereby unregulated. But there are three activities: the demolition of the existing house, which is, I'm told, a blight condition which ought to get resolved as soon as possible, to build a brand new house on the same lot. And the only direct wetland impact is a temporary wetland impact for crossing a culvert to bring water and sewer to the property. And as you know, a temporary impact is just that. It's temporary while the utility and then the wetland conditions that existed previously are restored. And once we have a little bit of growth, it's like you were never there. So that's a very temporary impact. So from a wetlands perspective, the applicant believes that this application presents no genuine issue of any consequence, and we would actually ask the agency to authorize the zoning office to approve this as an administrative. Everything that is occurring is in an upland review area, and the only, and again, we're getting rid of a burned out house that's been there for quite some period of time. And the only, again, the temporary impact that occurs frequently just to bring in the water and sewer. So with that, I'll be happy to.
Franklin, there is something with the microphone that you are speaking, it's cutting off.
Hear everything I said, or I guess, how much did you hear?
It is cutting
It's
out.
on and off and on and off.
Missed a lot of it.
Let me begin again. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
My first comment had to do with the request for recusal.
So then
And I
we
stated
that
that
the last statement that you made, we didn't hear. The last time you said that the zoning office should do what?
I didn't say the zoning office should do anything. I recommended that because all of the activities are outside wetlands and only upland review areas, except for the wetland impact of the culvert crossing sewer, I was asking the Wetlands Agency to consider authorizing the wetlands officer to approve this as an administrative approval. Because that is a concern.
You're still cutting out.
Did you hear that part of it?
No, you're still cutting out at the end.
Yeah, lost all that.
Lost all that.
Franklin, for the most part, I think we didn't hear the last two sentences.
Okay, I'm going to repeat the last two sentences. I restated the activities as being outside of the wetlands, except for the temporary wetland impact of the culvert crossing for the utilities. And I asked if the Wetlands Agency would consider authorizing the wetland officer to approve this as an administrative approval.
I got it.
Okay, thank you. Does
Thank
anybody
you. We
from,
heard all that.
Anybody on the commission have any questions on this?
Yeah, Luigi Cavallo here. It's a little hard to tell from the map. What is the size difference from the existing dwelling that's there compared to what's being proposed?
I'll have to try to answer that. I have the proposal, but I don't have a footprint of the existing unless I can find that. It may take me a minute to try to find it.
While he's looking it up, does any other members have questions on this? Any questions from Moose of the Wetlands office?
Mr. Chairman, just to answer that question, I don't have the exact number, but the three-family home with the wider and larger driveway increases the impervious surface coverage of that lot compared to the existing situation. But the applicant provided an underground infiltrator system that manages the drainage there. I recommend that the town engineer should look at this to make sure that what they are proposing can handle the additional drainage there, and there will be zero increase in runoff from the property, which is required by zoning regulations. And also, the only other comments that I have is that if the applicant can provide a water handling plan, because Wattles Brook is always running, and during the construction of the pipe under the water course, I just want to see that how they are going to manage the water during the construction. That is something that should be submitted to the office for review and approval.
Right. Would the commission like to go look at this property?
Yeah, I have questions too, but I would like to set a site walk up. But I have a couple questions before we get to that point, if it's okay.
Sure. Yes, sir. Go ahead, Tom.
Okay, I'm reading the application, and on page 3, basically, it's saying purpose and description of the proposed activity. New triplex, tear down existing single family and garage and upland review area. That's the extent of it. Page 4 is 100% blank. Page 5 has got, for description of soil types and existing vegetation of the site, it's written flat grass, existing house, and detached garage. I'm not a soil scientist, but I think that's pretty much woefully inadequate. Very little, I do not have a list of names and addresses of all adjacent property owners attached to it. Page 6 is totally blank. And we're going into page 7 is signed by the applicant, I assume. And we get into the state inland and wetland watercourse activity reporting form. It's saying the only thing that's being affected is the upland area, and that's being altered by 0.24 acres. There's nothing being altered in the watercourse area, which I believe is going to be if we're going to be crossing Wattles Brook. And then finally, the site walk field inspection requirements page is blank, not signed, no dates, no authorization, no nothing. So the application is totally incomplete in my opinion. So we can't act on that. And then I do believe it's a significant activity. We should do a site walk.
You want to make that a motion, Tom?
Make a motion, we determine application 2020-15 of Eric Markowitz EPM development a significant activity.
Do we have a second on that?
Second the motion.
Motion made and second. Any question on the motion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Any abstentions? No.
I will
Motion,
abstain. I missed that. My internet cut out for almost that entire thing, so I will abstain.
okay. Most of we're all set then, we're good?
Okay, if you want to have a site walk, do you want to do it before the meeting, the same night of the meeting, or do you want to do it on Saturday before the meeting?
Saturday before the meeting, early if we can.
Right.
It gets darker, it's up to you, but.
Yeah, that would be fine.
Okay, like 5 o'clock, 5:30.
No, Saturday.
No, probably 5:30 if we're gonna, meetings at 6:30, right?
Yes.
And are we gonna be back to, are we doing, you think next meeting will be this or a regular meeting?
It will be virtual meeting, yes.
No, I mean, it will be virtual or at the town hall?
No, virtual.
All right, so maybe make the meeting at 5 then.
Okay.
Can I
What
ask
other
why-
commission-
The day of the meeting, your meeting is on October 8th. It will be 5 PM on October 8th.
Okay.
Can I ask why our
Is
meeting's
everybody
gonna?
good with that in the commission?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
Luigi wants to know why our meetings are gonna be virtual still.
We didn't get any direction from the town, and we are following the procedures.
Okay.
Yes.
I think other boards are meeting in person.
We can discuss it with the town manager's office and see what they say, then I will let you know.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
Mark Masood.
Yes.
Yes, it's true. Other boards have started to meet in person, but there's still really no guidance from the town in terms from the town manager in
Okay.
terms of, allowing or disallowing or making recommendations. So it seems to be a little bit on a case-by-case basis at this point. I just wanted to add that.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, second, application 2020-16 of Giuseppe Paletta for the installation of a drainage
Mr.
pipe.
Chairman, you need a motion to table that application? I'm sorry.
I make a
You need
motion,
a motion to table application 2020-15?
I make a motion, application 2020-15.
You got a second?
Second.
Motion made and second. Any question on the motion?
Can I ask why we're tabling this item?
Because you want to have a sidewalk.
Look at the activity going on the sidewalk.
Yeah.
And plus, you cannot make a decision the night that you accept the application for wetlands. You
Right.
have to wait at least 14 days.
This is Franklin Pillacy. Did the commission vote to determine that this is a significant activity or a non-significant activity?
It is significant, they said.
Significant.
Excuse me?
I think it was significant.
If that's in fact the vote, then why wouldn't we schedule a public hearing for next meeting?
Good point.
Good point. So Moose, we need to schedule a public hearing also.
Okay, you need a motion to schedule the public hearing next month and also table it. We can combine that or make another motion.
That motion was made and seconded, correct? All in favor?
All right.
Aye.
All opposed?
Aye.
Any abstention? Okay. All right, new application.
Mr. Chairman.
This is
Can I ask
Franklin
a
Pillacy.
question?
Can I make a comment on a different application, a different matter?
It concerns this application or no?
I'm sorry?
Under your enforcement actions.
We'll do it when we get there.
When we get there, we'll go over that.
Okay, I just want to know if I should stay on make it a report on one of the enforcement actions.
I
Yeah,
think
when you
you
get
should do because we want to hear that.
Yeah.
What's that?
You
You
should
should wait.
you give us an update on those regulations.
You're still cutting
Want to do
out.
that now?
No, not now. When it comes.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Application 2020-16 of Giuseppe Paletta for the installation of a drainage pipe to stop erosion of an intermittent water course on lot 11 Lakeview Drive, Oakville, Connecticut.
Mr. Chairman, I will have no discussion on this.
Are you recusing yourself?
Yes.
Thank you. Musa, we've gone and saw this site already. We did a field walk on this before, correct?
Mr. Chairman, if you remember, Mr. Flood submitted an application before in front of the commission. At that time, he wasn't sure how to do that project, and then he withdrew the application.
Right.
And at that time, Mr. Flood asked the commission to waive the application fee. And you made a motion to waive the application fee.
Right.
This time, Mr. Flood wants to pipe that drainage ditch or intermittent water course to stop the current erosion that is going into the wetlands. And again, I want to recommend that the town engineer should look at that because there are some activities within the town right of way, and it has to be approved by the Department of Public Works before the commission make any decision. At that time, the commission was in favor of this application to pipe that because of the erosion problem. But since you cannot make a decision tonight, it's better to give it to I want to give a copy to the town engineer to review and then make some comments on it.
So there's no need for another site walk. We've already been there and seen the.
You already been there and everybody's familiar. And I've been there a few times.
Not all of us have seen it though, so if some of the new members want to see it, we might need to look at it.
I'm familiar with the property.
I am also.
Right. So if we want to do another site walk, I don't have an issue going over there to see it again. If the people want to go see it, we'll go see it.
I've seen the area. I don't need to go again.
I'm with George.
Yeah.
I went and saw it too. I was there.
Saw it also.
It needs to get remediated.
Right. I guess it'd be Louis. Lou, I don't think you were on to see it.
No, but I have a cousin that lives across the street, so I'm quite familiar with that property.
Okay, and Charlie, you okay with it?
Just nod your head, yes or no, we can't hear you.
Yeah. If you'd like to go see it on your own, whatever, you could go with Musa and he could show you if you wanted to see it, correct?
If anybody is interested, they can come or call me. I will meet them there to show them what is going on there.
Okay, thank you. Just make a motion to table this application, somebody?
So moved.
Got a second on that?
Second.
Motion made and second. Any question on the motion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Any abstentions? 3, discussion of wetlands meeting minutes. If you saw today when you got your packet or when you did receive it, it seemed like the floor mat's been changed to just to include the motions. I know the commission has talked about this before, and I wanted to get the feeling from the members on this. Should we go back to the old format or the new format? Any comments from anybody?
I have no preference.
I like the old format. I'm old school.
I also like the old format.
I agree.
Right. I just think I'm wanting to see, what is talked about. We can see it, and if there's corrections to be made, and that's the way it's filed. If I recall, I think that's why additional personnel was added to the office to do this, so I don't know why it can't be done unless Mark or Musa can tell me otherwise.
Mr. Chairman, I can answer that.
Okay.
So there's a few reasons for not providing verbatim, what I would refer to as verbatim minutes. The first is there's a huge amount of staff effort and workload that goes into creating a verbatim transcript. Literally when I first started, and Roseanne, of course, it would take her hours and hours, stretching into days to complete a record to that level of detail. She was given. Well, let me put it this way: the rationale for getting her to be full time was to assist the staff in its workload, in its daily workload, really not specifically for the purpose of creating more detailed minutes. Certainly we serve many masters, but one of our primary objectives is to serve the public, and it takes her away from performing that duty. The second is that, and this is a more recent outcome, is there's the newer technology in the form of taped meetings, videotaped meetings, and listing them online has more recently come available. And the thought process is that's a good substitute for folks who want to go back and look at a detailed or listen to a detailed record of the information that was provided at a meeting. The third is really the practice, although when I came here it was common to Watertown. The practice across the state is not for verbatim minutes anymore. Staff have been reduced in a general sense in municipalities. Again, staff are trying to serve the public better. And so if you looked at minutes across the state, the more common form these days is a very, very abbreviated set of minutes, or using what you guys refer to, or what we refer to as a motion sheet, to stand in. Adding to the first part in terms of duties, we're also now implementing some new programs, again, to better serve the public, and we're attempting to have our resources to corral our resources toward those ends, and to help to implement those measures that, again, could help better serve the public. So with staff having responsibility for not only inland wetlands but also ZBA, it does present quite a burden. And while you're right, the original job description for a person like Roseanne did call herself a recording minutes. That job description is now changed, and she's more classified as a general secretary. So for all those reasons, I don't want to. I'm happy to have further discussion, but I respectfully, submit that, we're really under current circumstances unable to provide detailed verbatim minutes anymore.
That's unfortunate, because I myself like to read it. I don't listen to it, and you don't get as much out of it. When you can sit and read the minutes and you know what went on, then you know who said it, it's much better. And I hear that from a lot of people. So
I agree with Ned, and I take your points as intended, Mark, regarding the virtual meetings or going online web and stuff like that. However, I think these meetings we've had with our committees here, and I've been on other meetings too, that it's not perfected. It's not even close to being really that audible, legible, or whatever. So I would have to discredit what you're saying as far as that being the current reason for going there, because I think we're a long way off from that. And I know in our meetings, we have requested AV support to have maps and stuff projected in our meetings, and we have not gotten any of that stuff. So we are way behind on the virtual end, and I think that we're going to be a lot further along than we anticipate, as in most things that we do around here. And in the common ground for what people are doing across the state is a good thing to use as a barometer, but we're way behind on our 25-year floodplain definitions and 100-year floodplains compared to other towns. So we got a long way to go on a lot of things. And I do think if we lose this history right now, it's going to be lost forever and we won't go back to it. I think we should keep the current standards and basically revisit it in another year when hopefully this technology is perfected and we have an AV department that can basically do what we need it to do.
I would have to agree with Tom on that.
Again, I understand what you're saying, but at this point, without further discussion, I can't at this point make a commitment to going back to providing verbatim minutes. So at this point, I'd request that we have further discussion.
I thought we were told that it's up to us how we want our minutes and they'll be done that way.
Who would have said that?
It was said in a meeting
Yes,
somewhere
I
along the line.
I'm pretty sure we had a discussion on it. We never got a response of what was going to happen. It was kind of left ambiguous.
Right. That's what I remember. It wasn't told. This is the first I'm hearing of this. You know, it was discussed and I didn't know it took effect. I think we should either needs further research or develop. I have to agree with Tom. The virtual meeting is very hard to understand completely what's going on. People are cutting in and out and words are being missed. I think that's a big issue, especially in a contested area. If there's people that have issues and we're going to miss it was a yes or a no, or this one said this or that. I don't, even if it takes 2 months to get them done, I'd still like to see it. But
I go to meetings in other towns and other places for other things, and when I get the minutes, they're verbatim. I don't know of anything that I'm involved with has no meeting minutes like we have them here.
anybody
Again,
else?
I'm happy to have further discussion, but I can't make a commitment, you know, right at this point, given that, you know, I have to manage the resources of the overall land use office, and it's there, quite frankly, you know, conflicting priorities. You know, we certainly want to serve the member commissions as well as we can. But as with you know, as with a lot of agencies and staff, we're pretty well stretched, and trying to make our delivery of services as effective as possible. You know, recognizing that there are, you know, many parts to who we try to serve, the commissions and the public.
Why has it changed so much? There's that much going on in town. It used to be done that way, and we've gotten more staff time in our budget. Well, how could it be? I don't know that there's that much going on in the town of Watertown. We have the same amount of meetings that are much shorter than they used to be. So I don't see how they could possibly be that much more work.
Well, it's not even a question of how much more work, but it's a question of, you know, efficiency, how fast we can deliver permits to folks, utilizing and trying to shift the resources to do things like update regulations, or again, to implement, you know, a system like Municity. There's just conflicting priorities, and I'm trying to manage them.
Yeah, I have no skin in the game here one way or another. I don't care about the minutes, but it seems contradictory to think that in a private company, you would cut staff and still expect the same amount of efficiency or better efficiency. It happens all the time. And yet we're adding staff and we can't maintain the same efficiency. That just something doesn't hold water there. Either you guys are adding work that you haven't told us you've done yet, or there's just no excuse as to why it can't get done.
Because our agency hasn't been extremely busy over the last year.
Well, I disagree with that. It certainly has been busy, and the I think that there's sometimes not an appreciation of what the amount of work and the amount of activity that there is in the land use office, and what the staff goes through again to handle their workload and to keep everybody happy. In terms of the addition of staff, it's been, I mean, Roseanne was at 20 hours per week, 20 or 25 hours per week. So the addition, of the 15 hours, while it sounds significant, it really isn't in terms of, again, what we're trying to perform and who we're trying to please.
Anybody else have any comments on this on the commission?
I think I was under the impression it's our choice, it's our commission. We want our minutes the way we want them, and it's up to you to do that.
Well, Ned,
If you can prove otherwise,
Right.
then that's fine. Until then, we want our minutes
Yeah.
the way we want our minutes, please. And it could be a vote from all of us, and if it
Right.
fails, it fails, if it passes, it passes, but that's my opinion.
Want to make an motion then?
I make that a motion.
What's the motion?
Motion that the minutes go back to the way they used to be. And if there's statute or regulatory verbiage that says otherwise, then that's fine. We'll lay with that.
Second.
Is there a second? Motion made and second. Any questions on the motion? All in favor?
aye.
All opposed? Any abstentions?
Aye.
I'm going to abstain.
So how many ayes were there? Roseanne?
Murphy's an aye. I'm a yes.
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 Yeah, so Joe Paletta, Charlie Belleville, Ned, and myself were ayes.
I am too, Tom Murphy.
Tom Murphy. So motion carries. Thank you. Old business, application 2020-14 of Town of Watertown Department of Public Works reconstruction of Portland Street, Oakville. Roy, do you want to comment on this? Roy, on the Public Works application or no?
Right, speak.
Yes.
Can you hear me now?
We can hear you now.
Yes, the purpose of the application is to provide improved roadway safety and drainage on the street over in Oakville. The water table is essentially at grade at that location, and we're having problems maintaining the pavement. The installation of a new culvert is intended to alleviate that, promote for greater safety and transportation network in the area. The minimal impact to the wetlands right there. The work will be done within the right of way and within use of all of it within the existing pavement structure.
You say something?
Any other question on this from the commission or Musa?
Mr. Chairman, if you look at your packet, I'll give you a draft motion for this application.
We're going to read it in.
I have like a few comments there, and you can read it into the record, please.
Thank you. Secretary.
Draft motion for approval. Whereas the Watertown Conservation Commission Inland Wetland Agency, known as the agency, has received an application from Town of Watertown Department of Public Works for reconstruction of a section of Portland Street, Oakville, as shown on a site development plan entitled Site Plan Portland Street Roadway and Drainage Improvement, sheet number 1, dated 8/6/2020, prepared by Town of Watertown Department of Public Works, Division of Engineering. Whereas the agency determined that the proposed activities do not constitute a significant activity due to the fact that proposed regulated activities will be within the footprint of existing Portland Street. Whereas the agency has evaluated the application according to the standards and criteria for a decision per section 10.2 of the regulations. Whereas the agency has convened meetings on August 13th, 2020 and September 10th, 2020. Whereas the agency recognizes that inland wetlands and watercourses of the state of Connecticut and the town of Watertown are indispensable, irreplaceable, and fragile natural resource. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the agency approves application 2020-14, subject to the following standard conditions and other conditions and modifications. Number one, the permittee shall notify wetlands enforcement officer in writing at least 3 days prior to the commencement of work on site and upon its completion. 2, if the approved activities are not initiated on or before September 10th, 2025, said activities shall cease, and if not previously revoked or specifically renewed or extended, this permit shall be null and void. Any request to renew or extend the expiration date of a permit should be filed in accordance with the section 11 of the regulations. 3, all work and regulated activities conducted pursuant to this approval shall be consistent with the terms and conditions of this permit. This permit is not transferable without the written consent of the Conservation Commission and Inland Wetland Agency. That was item 4. Item 5, erosion and sediment control measures shall be installed and maintained at the site in such an operable condition as to prevent the pollution of wetlands and watercourses. And that should say maintained, not maintained like it does. 6, a water handling plan shall be submitted to the wetland enforcement officer for review and approval. 7, culvert replacement shall be done when the watercourse has minimum flow.
Anybody from the commission have a question on this? Musa, are you fine too?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, the road is existing and they are just working within the same footprint of the road.
Okay. Somebody want to make a motion on this?
I can make a motion.
That's the motion. That was the motion.
Yeah.
Somebody could second
Right.
it.
Yeah, I make a motion, we accept it as read into the minutes.
You got a second?
Second.
Second.
Motion made and second. Any question on the motion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Any abstentions? Thank you. 2, notice of violation issued to the owner of 30 Jericho Road, Watertown. Mark, do you have an update? I know I wrote a letter to you. We got a letter back. I read through it. I saw there you talked about that we could revoke the permit. I think October 7th, this has been 3 years, I think. I was mistaken on the 2. This is 3 years old. I think we did more than we could here to help out here. I think we should revoke the permit. Do a site walk there to see if anything's been done.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I provided you with, I hope, was a summary of what has happened with this application, with this violation thus far. So I did have a conversation with attorney Bill Stevens, and he brought me up to date of his involvement thus far. I think, as you have seen in the past, it's probably not the best course of action with regards to a violation to issue a permit, because it gives a person, it turns a violator into a permittee and gives them a lot of latitude, unless it's very tightly controlled by conditions of approval. It gives a lot of latitude to the applicant holder probably more than an agency would want to give them, given the circumstances. So since they do have a permit, I was trying to think of ways to come to grips with the fact that it is a continuing violation and there is no resolution at this point. As I noted, there are a couple of unique circumstances here also, which is that the town is actually the landowner, and any violations normally go to the landowner, as well as as the person who creates the situation are generally held responsible for the violation. So I think it behooves us to also have a conversation with the town and to, in essence, try to get creative to see how we might be able to solve this violation. So I've recommended, I think, three different scenarios, not three different scenarios, but three different options. And we could certainly explore or implement all of them at the same time. So going back to what you said, or what you mentioned, I think that to start a revocation proceeding against the now permit holder would be one of those appropriate steps.
How does the rest of the members feel about this?
Yeah, I think we should move forward. I would probably do a sidewalk, make sure nothing's been done, cover our butts, and then go from there. But plan on doing a revocation hearing. We might want to consider extending an invitation or a request to Bill Stevens, Attorney Bill Stevens, to get some firsthand information from him.
There is a specific process to follow. So I would have staff. We would go to the site and confirm the conditions that are there, and if they have not changed, we would, with the commission's approval, institute that proceeding. So we have to issue the notice to the property owner, actually to the property owner as well. But the permittee right at this point is the person who dumped the fill. So 10 days prior to a hearing, we do have to notify them, and we certainly would take those steps. And then presumably at your next meeting, you would hold that hearing. Bill Stevens asked to be kept in the loop, and we'll appraise him of what the actions for the commission are. And we'll also have open a conversation with the town to see if there's any means to solving the violation on the part of the town, and maybe recording on the land records. I also just wanted to know, if I may, that while the agency does have the ability to institute municipal fines, in rereading the statute, in rereading the ordinance, I see that it only allows for a one-time fine. For a fine to be, in my opinion, to be most effective, it needs to be written in a way that it allows for a continuing violation to allow for a continuing fines for each day of a violation. The way that it's written now, you can issue one fine, and if it's not resolved, the commission has to make that finding, wait 30 days, and then go out and make another finding, which is a very cumbersome process. So we can have a conversation with the town to attempt to bring that up and to attempt to resolve that as well.
Right, so you think you could have this ready for the next meeting? Mark?
Certainly we'll do it with that goal in mind. So you would put on your, you would make that resolution, and we'll add it to the meeting, and if we can meet that time frame, which I think we can, we certainly can do that.
Okay.
Can I ask a question about this? When was the last time the staff look at the site? We're talking about the Guerrera site, right?
Correct.
Okay, when was the last time the staff was there? Because I saw this gentleman on a job site, and he told me that he moved most of the material. And I'm wondering, when was the last time that staff was there?
I can't answer that question. Musa, do you have any idea? Or can you answer from your perspective?
I think at one time, I don't remember exactly what the date was, but I went with the town engineer there and it was the same. There was no changes there. It was like a few months ago.
Sorry, I didn't hear that. When was that?
Few months ago.
Okay, and nothing was
Probably 2-3 months ago.
Yeah.
Nothing was done.
Right, that's what he thought the town engineer said, but
Okay.
we're gonna,
I actually buy there quite a bit.
I think it'll be a good idea if we could take a field trip and see what's going on. Because he was saying that the material was moved from the wetlands. So I don't know how true it is, so.
right, well, maybe Musa and the town engineer can go and then give us all a report to start with.
Yeah,
To see, because we have original pictures, you have pictures of it in the beginning, so if you take a picture now, we should be able to tell, correct?
Right.
Mr. Chairman, in addition to the options that Mark gave you, there is another thing that the town can do. Because the town is the owner of the property, the park property, they can put the violator on notice with a certified letter saying that we give you 10 or 20 days to remove this from our property. And if you don't do that, the town will remove it and then send the bill to you. And I don't know, I talked to the town attorney and as an option, and he said that that's another idea that he can look into. I mean, the town can put him on notice, give him 10 days or a week or 20 days, whatever is required, and tell him to remove these materials from our property by this date. And if you don't do it, then we will do it and send you the bill. And I don't know why the town doesn't do that.
I agree with you. I'm just saying that I'm wondering if he's not telling me the truth and he never removed anything. He told me he did, so that's the reason why I asked, when was the last time that staff was at the site? But we'll find out.
Can you find out with the town engineer so we can get this on the agenda for next month and get it cleared? It's gonna be 3 years in 2 weeks.
Yeah, I will go tomorrow and look at that. This will be back on the agenda for next month for you.
Right. Okay, thank you.
And with regards, did you want to take up the second item?
Yeah, because we're right on this. So the third one was notice of violation issued to the Watertown Fire District concerning regular activities conducted on district property, Judd Farm Road. Basically, will be 3 years, October 7th. I don't understand why this has gone on either, but I think we should follow the same.
May I comment?
Go ahead.
Franklin Pillacy on behalf of the Fire District. This is in some respects similar to the prior violation. This is a violation that occurred or was caused by a neighbor, an adjacent neighbor to the Fire District property. The Fire District had no knowledge of this. It was actually Musa that brought it to the attention of the Fire District. And a neighbor literally moved the boundary wall and then seemingly took some Fire District property into his own property and began to make changes. When this was brought to the attention of the Fire District by Musa, the Fire District hired an engineer and a surveyor, first the surveyor, who determined that the abutter did in fact encroach on the Fire District property. Then the Fire District hired an engineer to draft a restoration plan and then sent a notice of violation to the owner or the abutter. And in the beginning, the abutter agreed to, well, first the abutter denied that it was Fire District property. And that went on for quite some time. And my understanding is the abutter hired 3 different surveyors before the abutter finally agreed that it was the Fire District property. Then the Fire District sent formal notice to the abutter and demanded that the abutter take all the corrective action. And I think Musa has a copy of the restoration plan. And the abutter initially agreed, and then many months went by without anything occurring. So the fire district filed a lawsuit against the abutter, and that lawsuit has been pending for quite some time. There's two problems with that lawsuit. One is the courts are closed, and you can't pursue any court case of any kind right now. And secondly, the abutter's insurance company got involved in the case and filed a claim for a jury trial, which would put the case off for another 1.5 years or 2 years. So in the meantime, we have arranged to have a meeting with the attorney for the abutter and the fire district and the fire district's restoration engineer, which is Gary Giordano. That meeting was supposed to take place last week, and I notified Musa because I would like Musa to be at that meeting, but that meeting got changed and it didn't take place. It has to be rescheduled. So the fire district has done everything that the fire district can do, including filing a lawsuit against the person that caused the encroachment and the wetlands violation. Just for the record, this property is part of the Judd Pond Fire District watershed, so it's very important property district. Fire district has greater interest in resolving this matter than the Wetlands Agency does, because again, this is watershed property. So right now, it stands that the violator is prepared to schedule a meeting with the fire district to discuss a restoration plan. The first meeting date was agreed to by everybody except one person, so it didn't take place. We're going to try to reschedule it for sometime in the next couple of weeks. So I think it's somewhere along the line, I sent a letter to Musa notifying Musa that this case is in court now against the person that caused the violation. So there was a written report on this when we had to put the case in court that I believe is in your records.
Okay, we've never received copies of that, but.
Musa, do you recall that letter?
Yes, I did. I think in one of the communications, it does you received it. I will resend it to you next month if you want.
Okay,
that's a part of the record.
Yeah, that was through the date of the start of that we've been unable to pursue the lawsuit. Again, courts are closed, and it's very frustrating because not much is happening in courts these days.
No.
But we are trying to pursue it, and everybody has agreed to have a meeting. It's just we just have to find a date now.
Any other comments from the commission on both of these? Make a motion to the table.
Motion to table, item 3 under old business for Judd Farm Road violation.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Any abstention? All right, 3, discussion.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. 3, discussion on application review process by the agency. So does any members have any questions on?
I don't see him.
Mark, maybe you could help me out on this. I received 2 different roll call sheets in the mail. I received one on the regular members that had a vacancy, and then the second one came with Scott Tierman. I wonder if you could help me out here. Maybe George can help here, as I thought you started as an alternate member and then you moved to a regular member. Is that how you started, George?
Yes.
Right. So I don't understand. So I don't know who to ask here. I want you to find out and get back to the commission in writing of why that procedure wasn't followed.
In terms of somebody being appointed, then that's the new member.
Right, but
The
I
new
mean,
member being appointed as a regular member and not as an alternate?
correct. And since I've been chairman, most members started as alternates and, learned how meetings went and whatever. And then when there became an opening, went to a regular member. This member was added, like I said, I have 2 different roll call sheets in front of me. I knew nothing of this, and I don't think it's fair to the alternate members that go to the meetings and participate, they're not given a choice on this. So could you follow up with whoever you got on and report back to myself and the commission?
I can tell you just something right now. That was just given to staff yesterday.
Okay,
And that's why you have two sheets. Our staff attempted to quickly update the new sheet because Scott was available and apparently ready to attend his first meeting. So that's the reason for that. With regards to how they're appointed, that comes from the town council. They appoint either directly to an alternate or to a regular position. So I don't know the rationale, but I'll be happy to try to find out.
this past practice, an alternate member became a regular member. And like I said, I don't think it's fair to an alternate member to be skipped over. This is why you have problems filling commission members, because these situations arise. So I'd appreciate if you got a written answer to us.
And I don't believe I was ever an alternate. I think I just stepped right in because there was a vacancy.
Right, and I believe that's what it would be based on. So I don't think that's a rule per se, but again, I'll be happy to look into that.
Okay.
Hi, may I
And-
do something?
Yeah,
Mr. Chairman, I may have just typed it in the wrong place because I was in a rush to get the roll call sheet done. So that may be my mistake.
he might be an alternate member?
Possibly, I'm not sure.
Okay, so let's see if we get clarification on that.
Okay, sorry.
And Musa, I had a person stop me on a complaint, if you could check on Platt Road in the area of, I think 440. There was a new house being built and they piped the drainage right into the roadway. Can you see if that's, get back to the commission on this?
Is that on Platt Road?
Platt Road, I don't know the street address, but it's somewhere near 440 or 500, I don't know, but
Oh, okay.
I didn't drive by, but supposedly the gutters are piped out into the road. I didn't think that was allowed by the town, but.
I didn't issue, I can check that. I think, I know who is the builder. I will check that.
Okay, thank you. Does anybody else have anything under this heading to come up with?
Is there anything, we're supposed to get an update from Musa on the corner of Route 6 and Fern Hill Road there?
I give that to Mark to respond.
What, the new swimming pool and the used car lot?
Yeah.
Mark, do you have an update on that or no?
People in that neighborhood are getting pretty upset. You got two landscapers, you got some other kind of contractor up on High Meadow right on the corner, and then now you got a swimming pool, a trailer park, and a used car lot all on within 100 yards of each other.
By the winter, there might be a hotel there.
Well, we only have one in Watertown now, so.
Yeah.
Mark, do you have an update for Lou on that or no?
I do not have an update right at this point, but certainly follow up and get you one.
Thank you. Any other commission members?
Are we gonna have an update next month? Because we were supposed to have an update this month.
Sure, certainly by then.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Communications and bills. Chairman letter to Mark Masada, which I had written, which I think we've discussed about the violations. I don't think there need any further action there. Has everybody got a copy of the letter or any questions from the commission members on it?
Yeah, we received a copy. I don't have any questions.
Thank you.
All set.
Thank you. Reports from officers and committees.
Make a motion to accept and file because that was a part of the communications and bills.
Okay.
Make a motion to file.
Second.
Motion made in second. Any question on the motion? All in favor?
All right.
Aye.
All opposed? Any abstentions? Reports from officers and committees. Reports from staff. Is there anybody from the public wishing to speak?
What?
Anybody from the public?
Anybody from the public?
Catherine Kamara has her hand up.
Hi, Catherine Camera, 31 Cottage Place. First of all, I want to thank the IT department who's helping to make sure the public is heard. I appreciate that. Second, I would like to thank the commission that you continue to have a second participation at the end. Town council got rid of theirs, and it makes it very difficult when there's things that are talked about during a meeting and the public can't participate at the end. So I can tell you that it's really appreciated. I do want to say, with all due respect, that Franklin Pilacy does not represent the commission. When he commented on what I had to say earlier, he was commenting, but he is the applicant's attorney. He's not the attorney for the commission. I did not, it was a little spotty when he was speaking. I did not catch what statute he cited. So if anybody has that, I'd love to hear it. But if you don't, I will find out, because I will tell you what I caught him saying was something about it doesn't matter what party you are as far as the recusal. But let me present you with the situation. The Republican Party can nominate an unaffiliated voter to a commission. So therefore, it's really not about party here. It's about who's nominating who, and then who's then voting on these applications. So again, I don't know what statute he cited or what he cited. I didn't quite hear that. It was sketchy, but you know, I do believe that it's up to you to clarify this with either the town council that I asked to, or the town attorney. Not just an attorney. Just because an attorney is before you doesn't mean that what they say is you know, exactly 100%. And I think it's up to you as a commission to look into that. That's all I'm saying on that. I also just wanted to say from the public, what you were talking about as far as minutes is it is helpful to have the minutes typed out verbatim for even the public. I mean, we do have to realize that there are people who are not good yet with computers and probably never will be that live in this town. So if they want to know what happened in a meeting, they may even be able to get online and see them online, or they may want to have to go down and have them printed out. So unfortunately, I think it is still important. And to give you another piece of information just happened today, the town council used to have Ustream, and you could go online and you could find any meeting. They've taken all the Ustreams and put it onto YouTube. I wanted to see a meeting from 2019 today to verify, because when I went into the minutes, it's not verbatim. I mean, it's just kind of notes. Then I went to YouTube and tried to find this. I couldn't find it. So now I've had to ask IT to locate it for me and send me the link. So it's not 100% with the technology. And I do think that people like to be able to go in and read what happened at a meeting. I understand it's cumbersome for the staff. I totally understand that. But then I also understood what Mr. Cavallo was saying, is that, you know, if we were doing it before with less time, then I'm not sure why we can't still do that or try to do it. But from the public point of view, I think that it's important as well. So, and as far as meetings in person, I've been going to live meetings. So I don't know what you want to talk about, but there's someone at the door. Everyone signs a form. It's like a, you know, about COVID, and your temperature is taken, and then you were able to go into the room. So I don't know, you might want to look into that. Maybe you can have a live meeting. So that's all. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Anybody else in the public?
Anybody else?
I'm opening the microphones, Mr. Chairman.
Mike? Anybody else from the public?
There's four other people, and they are self-muted at this time. Any public participation, please unmute your microphones.
No.
At this time, I give up 4 people. There's 4 people and 3 people are self-muted. If anybody wants to speak, please unmute your microphone.
I think we're good, right? Joe, make
Mr. Chairman, there's no hands raised or microphones at this point.
Joe, make a motion for adjournment, please.
I'll make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Second.
Motion made in second. Any question on the motion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Any abstentions? Thank you.
Thank you.
Good night.
Good night.
All right.